What's up, guys? I'm Dave, and this is Ludi Antiqui. Last week, Nintendo released Super C for the 3DS Virtual Console, so I thought, what better time to talk about one of my favorite run-and-gun shoot-'em-ups? This is Super C for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Super C was developed and published by Konami in 1990 as a part of their 1988 arcade game Super Contra. As such, it's a sequel to the original Contra for the NES, and follows basically the same gameplay pattern, though the pseudo 3D base levels have been replaced by top-down view levels, which are a little bit easier to control and are a little more fun in my opinion. The evil Red Falcon is back from the dead, and this time he's brought some friends. Bill and Lance, the heroes from the first game, are forced to cut their vacation short and once again take out the evil alien leader. Alien parasites have entered the minds of the soldiers stationed at Fort Firestorm, and Bill and Lance have to take out their former comrades in arms. From there they fight their way towards Red Falcon's lair. Luckily the mind-controlled Marines and aliens alike aren't all that smart, and will generally just run straight towards you, waiting to die. However, there's an almost unlimited onslaught of enemies. Along the way, Bill and Lance can pick up various power-ups and weapons to help them in their fight. The 4 weapons you find are the rapid-fire machine gun, the spread gun, which shoots a fan of bullets, the nearly useless laser, and the chargeable flamethrower. As well, you can pick up a rapid fire, which will slightly increase the amount of shots you can take per second, a barrier, which only shows up once in an area that has no enemies and tempts you to rush forward to a bottomless pit, and the Mega Shell, which shows up every once in a while and will destroy every enemy and bullet on screen. And you're going to need all the help you can get, because this game is hard as balls. They say it's easier than the original Contra, but if it's easier, it's not much easier. And you might say, hey Dave, why don't you just use the Konami code? But unlike the first game, or the Japanese or European versions of Super C, the Konami code doesn't give you 30 lives per continue. It only gives you 10 lives per continue. 30 lives in total. And when you die in one shot, 10 lives aren't that many. This is the first time, but not the last time, that the North American localization is intentionally made harder than the Japanese and the European versions of the game. And speaking of the European version, or technically the PAL version because it's also in Australian area, much like the first game, in order to bypass the strict German censorship, Konami changed the story and replaced all of the human sprites with robot sprites, calling the first game Probotector, and this one Probotector II, Return of the Evil Forces, which is an even worse title than Super C. Anyway, back to the difficulty. While it's true with practice you will be able to get better and probably make your way through the first 5 or 6 stages without too much trouble, once you get to the last 2 stages, especially the last stage, especially the last part of the last stage, those lives begin to run out like crazy, thanks to cheap enemy placement and a few other nasty tricks. I mean, look at this, I can't even hit these guys. You may have heard the term Nintendo Hard. Yeah, this game is one of the reasons that they call it Nintendo Hard. 3 hits and it's game over, or if you're cheating, 10 hits, and you only get 2 continues after that. So until you get good, the game is over very quick. What makes this game so fun is the excellent control and perfect hit detection. If you die, it's your own fault. Well, I mean, it might be the 30 bullets coming towards you with enemies running below you, but it's your fault. It's amazing how close this game is to the arcade version. This really shows the power of the NES in the second half of its lifespan. Super C is almost a perfect port of Super Contra, though unfortunately they've omitted the intro and with it the best line in the entire Contra series.
What is this place?
Enemy and level layout are almost identical. And unlike the original Contra for the NES, and much like Konami's Turtles 2 the arcade game, additional stages and bosses are added, and so when you think that it might be over, it actually continues, which is awesome. Obviously the graphics and sound had to be toned down a bit, but it was almost like having the arcade game in your house. The only real fault I find with this game, besides the outrageous difficulty of course, but that's part of what the game is the fact that the bosses are sometimes way too easy, especially if you have the spread gun. But besides that, you know, this game's pretty much a perfect shooter. So if you're a sadomasochist, this is your kind of thing, you should definitely pick it up. It's a little expensive on eBay, but like I said at the beginning of the video, this was just released on Virtual Console for the 3DS, and has been on Virtual Console for the Wii for quite a few years, both for only $5, which is practically a steal. So it's definitely worth checking out. If you've enjoyed this episode, watch some of my other gaming videos, and don't forget to subscribe.